Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. Click that little letter I in the corner of this video and the drop down card will bring you right to my website. So today I want to talk about the month of August, and I'll do this for each of the zodiac signs. But as a preference, I want you to take quick notes here and remember these things first, and then I'm going to get into each individual sign. Got quite a few things going on in August. I've got at least 20 things to talk about. But a couple of the main things that are going on that are very, very important is this whole month we still have Venus in her retrograde motion in the sign of Leo. And with Venus retrograde, this is that time period where we're reevaluating our values. We're reevaluating some love relationships and partnerships. And we really can be even working on our own self-esteem and our own values and the things that we value just personally about ourselves, because that Venus energy does represent very personal energy. All right, so keep that in mind when I talk about Venus throughout the specifics of each of these videos. And I also want to mention that in the first couple weeks, the first week's actually pretty much close to the first 10 days of August, we have quite a few planets at the final 1 or 2 degrees of each of their respective zodiac signs, and mainly it's Saturn at 28 Scorpio, Venus and Jupiter are both at the 28 and 29th degree of Leo. And when we have these energies, when planets are at the end of the zodiac signs, it creates a sense of urgency. So up until I talk about August 11th, before then, Venus and Saturn and Jupiter transits are all going to have a feeling of urgency around them. So just remember that. And let me get to the details of what's going on now. Okay? All right. All right. This is for you Aquarius, or those with Aquarius rising. So let's start August 1st and August 2nd. Saturn is stationary, and it is moving direct, and that is at 28 degrees of Scorpio. And for those of you with Aquarius rising, that's in your career sector, up there in that 10th house. So with Saturn in the 10th house for the final couple of weeks, and it won't be back again for 28 years, you know, the last few years you probably had a major overhaul of your career, whether it was a shift in responsibilities. It would be a shift in responsibilities, whether it depends on your age and your status, but you might have taken on more responsibility, or you might have been released and you have a job with less responsibilities, but that feels much better. So with the stationary energy of Saturn as it's moving into a direct motion, you're definitely going to feel that in the career sector. And you probably have over the last few weeks. Now, the first 6 days of August, we have Venus retrograde in Leo. So again, go watch the Venus video on that. That's been up for a few months. Venus retrograde. And so she conjuncts Jupiter. Also, she conjuncts Mercury, and so all 3 of these planets make a square aspect to Saturn. What that means is, because they're all coming from your 7th house of relationships, so this is the key point, the key relationship piece out of all 12 zodiac signs. Venus retrograde in Leo in your 7th house, Jupiter in your 7th house, Mercury there too. That means your relationships and partnerships are going through a major change right now, like your career did a couple of years ago, and you're just getting a hint of it now. So the partnerships and relationships are either drawing yourselves closer in more love and more passion and compassion for each other, or you're breaking up because of a lack of love or a lack of financial support, because the finances are a really big piece when it comes to Venus and Jupiter, and really communicating that Mercury energy. These guys are at a 90-degree angle to that Saturn, so that means there are challenges, like I said, either in the love relationships and partnerships, business partnerships, or there's a challenge with finances. Square and energy, square aspects create challenge. When they create challenge, they create opportunities for us to grow. So don't look at it as a negative, look at it as an opportunity to grow. It doesn't have to be any of those things, but that's typically what happens, but it doesn't have to be. If your relationship is working fine, me telling you this does not mean that your relationship is going to pot in 2 seconds. No. If your relationship is on the rocks, this is an issue. Alright? Or if your finances are really, really fragile right now, this could be an issue. But if those things are secure for you already, then don't you worry about a thing. It's not a problem for you. Let's move on, because pretty soon, on the 8th, we have Mars moving into the sign of Leo, moving through for the next 7 weeks, where Jupiter just took a year to go through, where Venus is now. Alright, so with Mars in Leo, moving into Leo on the 8th, and for the next 7 weeks, going through that 7th house, that partnership sector for you, what it will create is activity in that area, so you're able to take action in whatever it is for you. Alright? Financial or relationship. It's not always easy to take action. Sometimes we'd rather just stick our head in the sand and not do anything. Mars commands that we take some action, so it will, especially when it's in Leo. On the 11th, we have Jupiter moving out of Leo into the sign of Virgo. We'll be in that sign for the next year. This means it's going into your 8th house. Jupiter's moving into your 8th house, and with Jupiter in the 8th house, this is a focus, another focus on finances, but it's a focus on, because it's in Virgo, organizing those resources that you get to use outside of your own income. Whether you need to refinance something, it's a perfect way to use Jupiter in Virgo in your 8th house. Or if you've just setting up a schedule to pay off a big bill, you set something up with the company, this is the great ways to use Jupiter in Virgo, transiting through your 8th house, okay? On the 14th, we have the new moon in the sign of Leo. It does conjunct Venus on that day as well, and that's in that relationship sector. So a new moon in the relationship sector definitely gives you opportunities to fix things and grow things in a positive direction. So keep that in mind, but do come back on near the 14th, subscribe, and you'll be notified, because I will put up the new moon forecast, just a separate forecast, but I won't go house to house. I'll just tell you about the new moon. It'll be a 5-minute forecast, but it'll be more information than this right now on the new moon. But just know it's in that relationship sector and that partnership sector. On the 23rd of August, the sun moves into the sign of Virgo, and when the sun moves into Virgo, it moves into that 8th house. So again, where Jupiter is, so the sun on the 26th, the sun connects with Jupiter. So all in that 8th house. So again, we're going to be focusing in, you with Aquarius rising will be focusing in on your finances and those outside resources and how you pay them back. Alright? Or how you're going to refinance something. Focus on those things. That's what you do with the energy of astrology. If you focus with it. On the 29th, we do have the full moon at 6 degrees of Pisces. That will happen in your 6th house. And on the 31st, the sun is opposite Neptune, and Neptune is at the same place the new moon is, in that 2nd house. So that's all about, what you value. That Pisces energy makes things a little foggy. So what it's telling us is the last few days of the month of August, you will be a little foggy about what you care for, what you value, what your finances look like. So don't sign any contracts at that point. Don't rush yourself into any situations. Let the last few days of August just sort of be what they are. Wait till September shows up, and then we'll be able to have some clearer thoughts and clearer ideas about what's going on. Okay? Alright, I'm going to leave you with that. Please subscribe, and also come to my website, nhastrologer.com. I'd love to see you there. Online classes, and I do private sessions on the phone or Skype if you like, and all the other stuff. Memberships. Come take a look. Thank you very much. Blessed be. Namaste.